Still mixing up AS4000 and AS4902, or not sure when AS2124 actually makes sense? So in this video, we're breaking it all down. We'll go through the most used AS contracts like AS4000, AS4902, and AS2124. Even a few lesser known ones, and explain exactly what they are, how they're different, and when you should be using them. If you're a project owner, a client-side PM, or anyone working on the owner side of a capital project, this is going to save you headaches later. Let's get into it. First, let's get clear on what these contracts are actually for. Australian standard contracts, often just called AS contracts, are model construction contracts published by Standards Australia. They're not law, but they're used in almost every written contract in Australian construction. Public, private, small jobs, big jobs. Doesn't matter, they all use it. And while they're legal contracts, they also do a lot more than that. They shape how the project runs, who's responsible for what, who carries the risk, and how decisions get made. And they're popular because they save time, reduce legal costs, and give everyone a standard structure to work from. Now, each AS contract suits different types of procurement models and levels of control. So your choice of contract matters a lot. Let's start with the most traditional one, the AS2124. The AS2124 has been around since the early 1990s. This is a construct-only contract. So the design is done by the client or their consultants, and the contractor is responsible for building it. It's simple, straightforward, but it's also kind of old now. AS2124 has some outdated contract conditions and clauses, especially around time bars and liability. Courts have been critical of some of its terms, and newer alternatives like the AS4000 have started replacing it. Even so, a lot of government bodies and developers still use AS2124, mainly because they're familiar with it, or their internal templates are built around it. Next is the AS4000. It is the more modern version of the AS2124. It came out in the late 90s and is still a construct-only contract, so again, the client leads the design and the contractor just builds it. But the contract itself is written in clearer language. It fixes a few issues people had with the AS2124, things like how delay costs are handled or how the superintendent's role is defined. Now let's talk the AS4902. This is the industry's go-to for design and construct, D&C projects. Unlike AS4000, the contractor here takes on both the design and the construction. The owner provides a brief or concept, and the contractor delivers the rest. So if you're the project owner, you've got to be careful. If your brief isn't clear, the contractor might leave out things you assumed would be included, and that's where variations come in. It's also worth noting that in AS4902, the superintendent doesn't have quite as much authority as in AS4000. So if you want strong oversight, you'll need to set that up properly from the start. Bottom line is, if you want faster delivery and less micromanagement, AS4902 can work really well. Just make sure you're crystal clear in your briefs. Now, just so you're aware, there are other Australian standard contracts out there. Some cover project management services, some are for subcontractors, others deal with things like construction management or short-form agreements. We won't go into all of them here, but if you're looking for something specific, you can find the full list on the Australian Standards website. Alright, so once you're working under one of these contracts, here's what really matters. First is progress claims. Every AS contract sets out how payments are made. There are rules around timing, approvals, and who signs what. And if those steps aren't followed properly, things can get messy pretty quickly, especially on big jobs with tight cash flow. Next are variations. Changes are part of every project, but how those changes are handled, that's where things can go sideways. The contract tells you how to approve a variation, how to price it, and how to document it. If that process isn't followed, you're probably looking at delays, disputes, or cost blowouts. And finally, the Security of Payment Act. This one's a big deal. Even if it's not in the contract, the legislation still applies, and it gives contractors strong rights when it comes to getting paid. So if you're on the client side, you need to know how that law works, because it can override what's written in the contract. So at the end of the day, the contract sets the rules. It shapes how your project runs, how risks are managed, and how things are getting delivered on site. You might not be the one who picks the contract, but understanding how it works helps teams stay on track, avoid surprises, and deliver with confidence.